So if you're watching this, you've probably got an email where I've been encouraging lawyers to take their happiness seriously for all the right reasons. And when I say happiness, I just don't mean, being joyful or jubilant. Yeah, we like that. But I mean, it's your whole positive internal experience of fulfillment, peace of mind, being comfortable in your own skin, and the sense of doing what it is you're supposed to be doing as the person that you are. And well, I've been very authentic, and I think I've been pretty direct in terms of what it means and the cost that we have of choosing not to be happy or refusing to take happiness seriously. I haven't really told you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And after now, 50 years of doing what it is that I do, and also most recently working with attorneys and knowing that what it is I do is what it is that so many of them need, it's time for me to step from behind the curtain and tell you what it is that I do. And what I do is I pull thorns out of lions' paws. And I know that's a clever phrase, but it actually is the best description of what I do. And not all lawyers are lions. But chances are, you are. You can make a plan, work a plan. You can make stuff happen. You're impactful. You have a presence. But at the same time, there's something kind of hobbling us or holding us back. And it might be professionally holding us back, but it's most likely also showing up, or maybe even more predominantly showing up in our personal lives. Our internal sense of ourselves and our life and how we feel about ourselves and about life doesn't match all the success that we have that we hope those trappings would change that internal experience. And I've been doing that since, I said for 50 years. I met my first teacher, more than 50 years ago. And I moved in with this crazy wisdom Zen master and practiced law in this corrupt town. And I don't know, as I go back and try to reverse engineer, I'm sure it was the challenge of having to be so good at the law, such a good lawyer to be able to get through the environment that I was in. And also what I went through with that teacher and all the internal things that I did and the retreats and whatever. I don't need to get into that. I don't want to get back to thinking about it. But it ended up with 40 years of spirituality and 40 years of entrepreneurship, lawyering, everything else, and mentoring. And I found that I could quickly relate to people, have them relate to me, have them trust me, get a sense of what it was that was holding them back, and be able to remove that in a way that allowed them to really step more deeply into who they were and what they wanted to experience. And this was most intense for me. After I sold my law practice, I ended up starting a software company in Raleigh, North Carolina. I live in Chapel Hill now. And at the same time we were building the company, we had spiritual groups at NC State, North Carolina State, UNC, and Duke. And I mentored hundreds. I was talking to my wife. It may have been thousands. I don't know. It's probably an exaggeration. But at least hundreds. They had thorns in their paws. And they trusted me. I was old enough to be trustworthy, but young enough to relate. I had every one of the thorns that they had. And I was able to do that. And one of the motivations that I said was, you don't want to look back 20, 30, 40 years later and say, geez, I wish I'd have taken that thorn out of my paw then. But where do we find ourselves now? We find ourselves 30 years later, 20, how many years, decades later, with that thorn still in our paw. The hell with that. Let's get that thorn out. The Buddha said it doesn't matter how long we forgot, only how quickly we remember. And now we remember. Now you're here. I'm speaking to you. You can feel what I'm saying. We can get that thorn out of your paw. And for 40 years, I took thorns out, but it's only in the last 10 years that I realized why it is that so many of the thorns I take out from people, they're going to step on the next thorn. This is kind of a value add I had in the last decade. I practiced law, as I said, in a penitentiary town, and I would keep people out of the pen, or I'd get them out of the pen, or whatever. I'd shorten their sentence, and they were like knocking, banging on the door, trying to get back in because they didn't feel safe or secure without that. And that's the way so many of us are with thorns. I'd get a thorn out, and they'd step on another one. So yes, I can get that thorn out of your paw. And the thorns that you have, the same thorns that everyone has, but they're particularly in the law. We're attracted. A certain type of personality is attracted, and it tends to cement in these thorns of that feeling we got to be hard on ourselves because we're not trustworthy. Feel like we're an imposter, and people are going to see through us, or that I got a big heart but I don't dare show. Whatever that thorn is, I can. If you're here, I can probably pull it out. And I do that in a 60 to 90 minute session. I'm happy to pull that thorn out, and I create a field of trust, of love, and empathy because I've been there before. But I also have, my wife once talked about my brilliant Jewish mind and my beautiful Jewish heart, and I bring all that there and just my history of doing this so many times, and it's what I do. I love to do most, so I'm very, very good at it. And if you're interested in that, that's a great step. And I have a lot of lions that are free of their thorns. So that's step one. And if it's a one-off and we do it, that's great. And I don't mean to minimize it. It's a life-changing experience. It's why I'm 72 years old. This is why I'm still doing this. And this is still why I'm as young as I am. because I love it. I'm good at it. It changes people's lives, and I get tremendous satisfaction and understanding for myself from doing it. What happens next is even better, because what is life after thorn? Well, one is I don't want you to step on the next thorn, okay? But it's also that, wow, if I can free myself of this, I can free myself of that. And if life looks like this, and I can now start to trust more, and more magic's happening in my life, more opportunities are coming, I'm getting greater discernment, all of those things start happening. Well, yeah, great. On your own, life will provide that for you. But I am also very, very good at taking you through what I consider to be the 3 steps after, the thorn has been released. And when I say release the thorn, I can't guarantee, you might be carrying something for 40, 50 years in deep trauma. I can't guarantee in 60, 90 minutes, you're still, there still might be a scab, but we may take a while to get that out, but you're going to get a sense of the freedom. You're going to know what life is like without it. And you're going to have the confidence to know I'm not victimized and I continue to live my life that way. That'll come out of the first time. But going forward, I say there's 3 stages that you can choose to take, and that's ongoing mentoring. And the first one is what I call release, which is not only continue to get the thorn out or whatever, it's hard to, it's a metaphor. The thorn's a metaphor. It's so hard to set the point, oh yeah, it's out. But you continue with that freedom process, but you also start to release so many of the things that thorn was holding into place. You can start to see, how is this affecting my life, my relationships, my business? And you can start releasing more and more once that thorn's out and you've gone through the process of releasing that which is not authentic or helpful to you. And the next stage is relief. It's really allowing yourself to take that deep exhale and live from the exhale. We're just constantly, but once the thorn's out and you can start letting go of stuff, then it's like, how do I live life in the exhale? How do I live life with relief? How do I live with trust and ease and love and just experiencing so much more? So first is the release. Keep releasing the thorn and that which the thorn was holding in. The second is the relief, to be able to experience what it's like to live in the exhale, be able to live with life with ease instead of with fear, with love instead of trepidation. And the third step is relaunch. And that means that you are actually now, you have a new life. I had a client who, we've been through this. We got the thorn out. We've done the releasing more. We've had the relief. And now it's like, it's like, so how do I live now? It's like I'm on a planet with no gravity. Well, I know what it's like. There's nothing I'm doing here I haven't done myself. Okay. I'm speaking, every thorn you have, I have. Those 40 years of taking them out, I learned a lot about thorn. In the last 10 years, I've learned about what keeps us trapped, and that is a lack of self-acceptance. We just don't think we're any damn good. We think we got to be a better version of ourselves before we can relax and be acceptable and love ourselves. And that last step is really about self-acceptance, which is it's the back of the book answer to. I can only give you the experience of my life and all the lives that I've had an opportunity to interact with and to impact. And that is that first you start to accept yourself, then you start to like yourself, then you start to love yourself. And I know it seems like a Hallmark card. I'm not just saying, I love the fact that, no, you just start to love your humanity. You love the person that you are. You see the perfection of who you are in this phase, and you still go through stuff. And, it's not like my life is just one long-winded Hallmark card. No, I got my stuff internally and externally, but I'm at ease. I'm at peace. And I can't tell you how beautiful it is to live life without it's not even a thorn. It's like a prison of self-denial, self-negation, self-loathing, self-disqualification. It's horrible. And when you go through the whole process, it's a beautiful way to live. I'm no less effective. I'm more effective. I'm not standing on the end of an exit ramp with a sign that says, we'll pull thorns out for food. No, my life works. But it just works in a way that has so much greater ease and, dare I say, so much greater magic. So if this interests you, let's take the next step. By now you probably have a sense of whether I'm someone you want to follow up with. Schedule a call to talk. There's a page here that talks about the different offerings. But take it seriously in all the right ways. And if you have a resonance with it, have the courage and the curiosity to take the next step. Because yes, I do this because I love it. I do it because I make a living at it too. But it just occurred to me, there's like an unseen contract. It's a contract of the heart. It's a contract of the soul. And if you feel that pull, let's take the next step. And I would love to have you live in beauty, live in peace, live in a sense of just being really happy with who you are and the people that are in your life.